It has been the hottest week of the summer so far down in Phoenix. The roof is closed. A little Sunday afternoon baseball indoors at Chase Field. The Rockies concluding this series against the Arizona Diamondbacks. And the Rockies will send their ace to the hill, Ubaldo Jimenez. He is the ace of all of baseball this year. Welcome, everybody. With George Frazier, I'm Drew Goodman. He's been something else, and in his last outing 6 days ago, a matchup everybody around the nation who follows baseball was looking in on. It was Tim Lincecum. It was Ubaldo Jimenez. The last man standing was Jimenez.
Absolutely it was, and it was a dominating performance once again by Ubaldo. You see his overall numbers in today's matchup going against Lopez. 10-1, the earned run average off the charts. Lopez won his first start. It's been a struggle for him in his next 9 to come out. He pitched against the Rockies the other day. The 70 strikeouts. Another key thing I look at, Jimenez is 7-0 after a Rockies loss. That's what you're looking for. You want a stopper to go out to the mound and be able to dominate someone, and he has done just that. I thought it was interesting when Jim Tracy said the one key thing we've told him, don't show him everything you got in the first couple of innings. Establish the fastball that makes everything better. Obviously, this kid is electric, and it showed on the field and in his numbers.
And you know what? I'm sure somewhere in his mind, looking at Arizona, even though he threw shutout baseball against them last time, they squared up some balls. So he's motivated by stuff like that. You're going to get Ubaldo Jimenez against the Diamondbacks, and when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about the Rockies' offense. They've been AWOL more frequently of late. This afternoon, the Rockies with Ubaldo Jimenez on the hill will try to salvage 1 of 3 before heading home to face the Houston Astros over the next 4 days. Back upstairs with George Frazier, I'm Drew Goodman. The Rockies offense produced just 3 runs last night, and they did score 6 in the opening game. Unfortunately, it was not enough as Arizona won in the 9th inning 7-6. Not much offense in San Francisco. It's kind of been a continuing theme in this first half.
I don't wonder if you start to feel the pressure a little bit as a hitter. You know, the guys on base, they had opportunities last night with Spielborgs and Gonzalez, both guys being able to get in a position to score. You couldn't do anything with it. One time with nobody out, you had runners on first and second, nothing produced out of that, and you're right in the heart of your RBI type lineup, and you start to feel the pressure maybe as a hitter. You start to try to do too much as a hitter, try to force things too much, and I think what you do as a manager, you allow it to go for like it has this 6-7 day period where they've hit a $188 on this road trip. That's no good. We can sugarcoat it any way we want to. They hit a $188. They've struggled with men on base. They haven't been able to drive in runs. So as a manager now, all of a sudden, you got to start thinking, do I need to hit and run? Do I need to bunt when I normally wouldn't bunt a guy over to create some positive flow within that offense?
Or shake up the lineup, and you'll see in a little bit that Jim Tracy has done exactly that. But first, we check in with Alana Rizzo. Hey, Alana.
Hey, guys. Thanks very much. Coming up for me in the ball game, we're going to talk about Missile Miguel, how Miguel Olivo's arm keeps the Rockies infielder on their toes. And then we're going to talk about declined invitation, why Arizona was not the place for Seth Smith. And then producing Parra. He is in the lineup today, so we're going to talk about what he did in his first 5 Major League at-bats that hadn't happened in 16 years, guys.
All right, Alana, we'll look forward to that. We are set for baseball. Ubaldo Jimenez and the Rockies against the Diamondbacks. Come on back to the desert with us. Colorado Rockies baseball on FSN is brought to you by Quest High-Speed Internet. Get blazing fast speeds that won't burn up your wallet. By E470, quick, easy, and available to anyone. Test drive it today. By Ford F-150, it's not just a pickup truck, it's a Ford F-150. Drive one. By promoting responsible fatherhood. Be there for your kids. It matters. And by Wells Fargo. Wells Fargo customers visit wellsfargo.com/Rockies for 2-for-1 club level seats. Rodrigo Lopez completing his warm-up pitches as the Diamondbacks have already taken the field on a Sunday afternoon in the desert. The roof is closed. Temperature's supposed to hit 110 outside today, so it's appropriate that we play indoors here in Phoenix. Carlos Gonzalez, 305 batting average, and he's hitting .500 this year against Arizona. He'll be followed by Seth Smith. Then Tulowitzki slides to the 3-hole. You may see that quite a bit over the next few weeks. Brad Hopp will bat 4th. Miguel Olivo, who's really swinging the bat well, he'll bat 5th. Todd Helton slides to the 6th spot for the first time since 1999. Ian Stewart, Clint Barmas, and Ubaldo Jimenez round out the lineup. First pitch is brought to you by Domino's Pizza. Text keyword pizza followed by a space and your name to 95323 to receive your Domino's special offer and to be entered to win a pizza party for 15. One weekly winner will be chosen. We're thrilled you're with us for Sunday afternoon baseball. The Rockies have lost 3 straight. They have not lost 4 in a row all season long, and they'll try to avoid that with their ace on the hill. Ubaldo Jimenez going against the former Rocky in 2007. Good guy Rodrigo Lopez, who's been pretty solid as a starter this year for Arizona. He has the first pitch over for strike 1.
2 3, 431 earned run average. At home, a 552 earned run average.
Tried to get the breaking ball on the back door, and Mark Wegner wasn't buying. It's 1-1.
Where the Arizona staff and along with San Francisco have had success is the soft stuff away.
Did he hold up? No, he did. Jerry Mills says he went around, so it's 1-2. Cargo has enjoyed playing under the sun. Now this isn't really day baseball. It's indoor baseball, a little different, but during afternoon baseball, he's hitting .348. And the high fastball strikes out Gonzalez.
Yeah, more about location than it is anything else. Not totally overpowering at 89 miles an hour. Fastball 88-92, the slider, the changeup. And he'll really focus on the 2 pitches, fastball and slider, and he'll try to move the slider back and forth across the plate along with that hard sinker. Coming back from Tommy John surgery, it's been a long road for Lopez, and he's been able to make it back.
Seth Smith will step up. Smith didn't play against Dontrelle Willis yesterday. He pinch hit late in the ball game in that 7th inning when the Rockies scored 3 times, and he saw 4 pitches out of the strike zone with the bases loaded, forcing in the Rockies' 3rd run. Unfortunately, that's all they would get. Lost 4-3 yesterday. Here's the 1-0. Up and in, 2-0. Rockies beat Lopez on May 26th at Coors Field, 7-3 final. Lopez went 6 innings, allowed 4 runs on 5 hits. The surprising thing about that outing from Rodrigo's standpoint, George, is he walked 4. He's usually a control guy.
Typical is around the plate. On the season so far, he's walked 21, struck out 39. He is a guy that will get it around the plate typically. It's behind Smith 2-0. That's the other thing that he has the ability to do, and that was the slider at 81. An 8-mile-an-hour differential off of the velocity, and then just kind of lay it into the middle of the plate. And the way that sets up, a line drive base hit by Smith up the middle. Smith up the middle. The way it sets up for you as a pitcher, and it's just you never get comfortable as a hitter if you have the ability to go off speed behind and counts.
Here's how the Diamondbacks align defensively. They have an outfield with Connor Jackson, Chris Young, Gerardo Parras in right field. Justin Upton does not play against Ubaldo Jimenez. He's 0 for 15 lifetime. In fact, Stephen Drew's out of there. As you notice, Augie Ojeda's playing short next to Mark Reynolds, Kelly Johnson and Adam LaRoche, and everyday Chris Snyder behind the plate.
Well, it's not just their everyday lineup. As you used to go against Randy Johnson, certain guys took a day off. Same thing, and the guys like Ryan and Clemens, Schilling in his prime. There was guys that, you know what, I don't need the 0 for 4 and the 4 punch-outs.
Tulowitzki hits into a 6-4-3 double play.
Yeah, there was a bullet.
Hit it hard, bad result. Kelly Johnson's the leadoff man for Arizona. We'll see him against Ubaldo in a moment. Let's hear first from George Frazier on today's player bank on Frazier. Who do you like?
Well, I could have gone out on a limb. I could have jumped out there and, you know, said a couple of the hitters, but they're hitting $188 on the road, and I know this guy's been pretty good cash. It's like an ATM, man. You go, plug the numbers, you get the money back. 7 runs allowed. Fewest among the starters with 10 or more starts. Tim Hudson second with that. How about this record? You want a closer, a stopper, a guy that's going to stop those losing streaks? That's your guy. 7-0 after a Rockies loss.
That is our Wells Fargo player to bank on. What you'd really like in 11 starts, this being his 12th, is that those numbers to be reversed, George. You'd like 7 or 8 of those times for him to be continuing winning streaks.
Yeah, no kidding. You know, I wonder how many of those are in baseball now. You think 5th starter, obviously before your 1st starter, and they're 5th starter for a reason. They win 10 games a year, 11 games typically as a 5th starter. You wonder how many of those guys around the league that are the #1 guys for teams, what their records are after losses. Because most, let's face it, most 5th starters are 500 guys.
At best. At best. 0-2 is fouled off. Now, Ubaldo has a string of 19 consecutive scoreless innings against Arizona. 2-0 this year. And the 0-2. Got to have that pitch.
Well, hard sinker down and away to the outside at 96 miles an hour. The only reason he didn't swing at it because he knew he couldn't do anything with it.
Ubaldo also has a run of 26 consecutive scoreless innings. The last pitcher to put together 2 scoreless streaks of more than 25 innings in the same season is Jack Morris, who did it back in '84. One was in the first half, one was in the second half. Nobody's ever done it, George, as long as they've been keeping this record in the first half.
Trying to go that hard sinker down and away again at pretty good paint. It is off the plate, but it's also at 98 miles an hour.
Mike Pelfrey's having a breakout year for the Mets.
Isn't he, though? But, you can see what Ubaldo's done. 26 and 25 and a third.
Changeup. That's unfair. Kelly Johnson is gone. That'll bring up Connor Jackson.
Split finger that he put to the outside part and his arm strength at 90 miles an hour. The only guy I could think about as you look at the Rockies lineup. Excuse me, Diamondbacks.
Connor Jackson will be up next, then LaRoche. Mark Reynolds hitting cleanup today. Chris Young moves up to the 5 spot. Parra, Snyder, Ojeda, Lopez. So 2 regulars not in there. Stephen Drew and Justin Upton. Upton, a lifetime 0 for 15 against Ubaldo and did not play the last time these 2 teams matched up. Stephen Drew has much better numbers. He's a .269 hitter, but he's not in there. On the outside corner at 98 for a strike, 1-1. You know, yes, George, I agree with you. Nobody is running to the bat rack to face a guy like this. However, I think there's more adrenaline in talking to players. You get that big time adrenaline flow because you want to face the best. You want to see how you match up.
Well, you do outwardly.
Well, yeah.
I can just tell you from my experiences of being on teams that had to go out and face some of the greatest pitchers in the game. Some guys were really excited about it, and some guys bailed. Think of when Larry Walker was playing for the Rockies. He didn't face Randy Johnson until the very end of his career, and then he owned him. Randy couldn't get him out. You know, the guy I was trying to think of with that hard split finger that Ubaldo shows at times, and a lot of times for strikeouts, Kevin Brown. When he was in his prime before injuries, would throw at 88, 92 miles an hour, and it was just unhittable.
Well, a lot of times, Jim Tracy will compare Ubaldo to when he had Kevin Brown, when Kevin Brown was healthy. 3-2 on Connor Jackson.
A little off the plate, down and in.
And a shattered bat. Easy play for Tulowitzki, except he can't come up with it. Ball came up a little bit at the end. That'll be an error on Tulowitzki. Let's take a look at the Rockies defensively. They have an outfield of Seth Smith, Carlos Gonzalez, and Brad Hawk. In the infield, Stewart, Tulowitzki, Barmes, Helton, and Olivo. Now, we told you yesterday, Jim Tracy had told everybody that Helton would not play today. Giambi has a sore hamstring, and they just felt like if they ran Giambi out there today, that they would really risk him hurting the hamstring and then being on the shelf for a while. So that's why Todd is back out there this afternoon. Here's Adam LaRoche, ball 1. way inside, 2-0. LaRoche is 4 for 12 against Ubaldo.
Good fastball hitter. You have those guys in the league, you just, no matter how hard you throw, you can't throw the ball by them. It's all about location. And evident
on 2-0.
The evidence of the respect that Ubaldo and Olivo are showing to LaRoche. It was a curveball for a ball, and then the count goes to 2-0. Then he comes back with a 90-mile-an-hour split on the outside part of the plate.
Connor Jackson at first, aboard on the error by Tulowitzki is 5th. And that's a base hit to right center field. And Jackson's going to go first to third.
Well, let's take a look at the keys to this ball game, brought to you by Suzuki after the base hit by LaRoche. The one thing you're trying to do today is you've got to score with runners in scoring position. Obviously, everybody's talked about it. The Rockies have not done that. Ubaldo's going to have to carry the load again, but you kind of like to give him a little bit of a breathing room and prevent the big inning. Not so much when Ubaldo's on the mound, but making pitches when you're late. You've got to be able to, late in the ball game, the closers, 7th, 8th inning guys, 8th inning more particularly, you have got to be able to make those pitches. That's something that the Rockies bullpen, quite honestly, the last couple of nights did not do that.
So Mark Reynolds steps up. His average is dipped to .218. And he takes strike one. It's rare that you see 2 men on against Ubaldo. Just a little bit low, 1-1. Chris Young to follow. A couple of guys with a ton of pop, but a lot of strikeouts. And there's a guy out there that produces a fair number of strikeouts. When he needs it, George, he's perfectly content to allow you to hit a ground ball, broken bat type of thing early in the count. But when he needs to punch out, obviously with that arsenal, he can go get it.
He can do that. 71 strikeouts on the season now for Ubaldo Jimenez in 80 2/3 innings.
Split. It's a heater away. 2-2. Did he go?
And I think
swing, 3-2.
And I think in years past, with Ubaldo on the mound, there was concern obviously with pitch counts and how far it would get into the games and how far it would rise. But he's shown all of baseball and everyone else the amount of pitches that he can throw. And work at 125 to 130 pitches in a start, and he's fine for the next time coming around.
Yeah, with that error, he's now thrown 23 pitches already here in the first inning.
13 strikes, 10 balls.
3-2 on Reynolds.
Avoid the swing path of Mark Reynolds. And what I mean by that, if you watch him swing the bat, folks, he doesn't go down and get a hard slider. That swing of the bat is going to come through the same zone almost repeatedly. And that's where he gets his hits from. If you get into the swing path, he's going to make contact. If you avoid that swing path, like right now would be an outstanding spot for that hard sinker down and in.
And he misses. Bases loaded. I'm trying to think if we've seen the bases loaded all year against Jimenez. Of course, nobody feels worse about this than the Rockies shortstop Troy Tulowitzki, who is leading the National League in fielding percentage among shortstops.
And right now he's sending out a shortstop going, hit the ball to me. I want to be able to turn this double play with 1 out. Middle of the infield will be back. The corner's up. 289 average, 0 grand slams against Jimenez with the bases loaded in his career.
Chris Young, bases loaded.
Well, as we've been able to give you the signs early in this game with first and third, it's hard to do because you don't know the sequence. And really, if we did, we couldn't tell you because you don't want the Diamondbacks to pick it off. So if it's second sign, third sign from Ubaldo. Started him off with a 98-mile-an-hour fastball out of the zone.
Good fastball hitter, Chris Young. And it's 2-0. Connor Jackson at third on the error. Adam LaRoche singled, and then Mark Reynolds earned a walk after being behind 1-2.
Behind and not throwing strikes in a stretch. With the bases loaded, would he be more comfortable to go to the windup? Sometimes pitchers can do that, even with one out. I mean, you're trying to hold a runner at third base. I don't think they would squeeze.
That's a changeup, like a straight change.
At fastball count, again, we've talked about this. If you have the ability to come back and throw with the same body and arm action of what you have with your fastball, you'll get some swing and misses.
You know, the irony of what you just proposed, George, is that in Atlanta, he ended up, when he was struggling with control out of the windup, pitched the last 4 innings all out of the stretch in the no-hitter. And this could be 2. There's 1. There's 2. Wow. What a turn up the middle by Barmes and Tulowitzki. No damage done. That's as stressful an inning as Ubaldo's had all year. Top of the second inning, Arizona had the bases loaded. Troy Tulowitzki, George, a pirouette around the bag to turn this with a plus runner going up the line at first.
Plus runner, and then one bearing down on you too. Reynolds was coming right at him, stayed up high and long to break it, and he just threw the bullet to first base, Helton with the stretch to the baseball. As athletic a middle infield with he and Barmes as there is in baseball.
No question about that. Here's Brad Hopp against Rodrigo Lopez, and he pulls it foul. Brad trying to get going offensively. Of course, he missed a couple of weeks with a quad injury. Brad just 1 for 17 on the road trip. He had a sac fly last night. And overall against Arizona this year, 2 for 19. You know, the Diamondbacks, we keep talking about their much maligned pitching staff, and overall their numbers on the hill are awful. Their pen has been terrible. Their overall ERA is last in the National League. However, the last 6 ball games, and it's always, what have you done for me lately? Their last 6 ball games, they've pitched very well. In fact, their starters have a 1.47 ERA the last 6. The opposition hitting just 2.03 during those 6 ball games. And this ball is hit well to left field, and Connor Jackson retreats and makes the catch. And overall, their pitching staff the last 6 ball games, second in the league with a 2.58 ERA. Let's check in with Alana for the first time. Alana?
All right, guys, thanks very much. Augie Ojeda at the shortstop spot for the Arizona Diamondbacks. Stephen Drew out with a very minor injury that he suffered in last night's ball game. The ground ball out that Melvin Mora hit for the Colorado Rockies to end the game actually hit Drew on his middle finger of his throwing hand. It bled pretty badly last night, and then when he arrived at the ballpark earlier this morning, it was extremely swollen and very tender. A.J. Hinch, the Diamondbacks manager, was planning on giving Drew a day off anyway on Tuesday or Wednesday, but the issue forced him to give him the day off today. Nothing of a DL situation, just a minor injury, guys.
Olivo hits a towering fly ball to center. That'll be the second out.
Well, last night in this ball game, a hard ground ball hit right at him. You're going to see that bare hand up on it. A lot of guys teach it that way and put the hand on top, but as it came in, it got a hold of the hand, and he was able. You look, not a very strong throw over to first base at all to end the ball game. A.J. Hinch decided to take a day off today.
The first start at shortstop all year for Augie Ojeda. Todd Helton, you said earlier, hitting out of the 6 hole today. First time since 1999. Inside 1-1. In the late 90s, George, there were still remnants of the Blake Street Bombers. Todd Helton was one of the top young players in the game, but he was waiting his turn to move into the middle of that lineup.
Well, you got to remember who was in that lineup too. At that time, I mean, Galarraga had just left out what he was doing. She had Ellis Burke, she had Larry Walker, you had Dante Bichette, Vinny Castilla, 4 pretty big power hitters.
The 2-1 on Todd is fouled back. 2-2 on Helton. 2 outs, nothing cooking for the Rockies. They got a base hit in the first by Seth Smith, and then Tulowitzki hit a line shot, 1 hopper to Augie Ojeda. That turned into a 6-4-3 double play. Rockies go home after the ball game. Open up a 4-game set with Houston. Here's the 2-2, strike 3. That was right there. So Helton caught looking, and we'll move to the bottom of the 2nd inning. No score. Well, number 38's looking for a couple of quick innings. He threw 29 pitches in that first inning. Got out of a bases loaded deal. 6-hole hitter Gerardo Parra will lead things off, hitting .242. And the curveball's high, ball 1. Diamondbacks playing good baseball at home. 6 of 7 they have won, and this is a roller to second. Barmes throws out Parra. It's time to go outside the box with Jack in the box. Yesterday, the Rockies had a season-high 4 stolen bases. They're among the top 5 in the National League with 35 thefts. The Mets, Padres on top. And last night's ball game included the first stolen base of the career of Chris Iannetta. Outside the box, brought to you by Jack in the Box. And Chris Snyder, speaking of catchers, takes strike 1. There's Iannetta. Chris was on the back end, George, of a double steal.
Get them any way you can take them, you know, because a lot of times teams, if you've got a fast runner on the front side of that double steal, they'll throw through to the backside versus trying to go to third base, because typically that runner from first base starts to slow down a little bit the last 10 or 12 feet.
Change ups in there. 1 ball, 2 strikes on Snyder. Miguel Montero getting closer to coming back. He'll be behind the plate when healthy for Arizona.
Well, they think that he'll go out Monday and he'll spend a week in AAA, a week full of games of catching. It was the knee that he hurt. So obviously that knee's going to play a big role as a catcher behind the plate.
And a splitter, and Snyder's gone. That's the second punch out for Jimenez. Augie Ojeda will be coming up with 2 outs. Toyota Diamond Details brought to you by your neighborhood Toyota stores. Well, Chase Field's an offensive park. 81 home runs is tied for the most in baseball. The 3+ home runs a game most in baseball. And we showed you that AT&T Park yesterday averages about 7 combined runs a game, which is one of the top 2 pitchers parks in baseball. This one, 4.5 runs on average, more than that. And this ball's hit pretty well by Ojeda. Dumped into right field, and Ojeda's going for 2. Hops throw, not in time. Double.
Well, the guy that runs pretty good. You know, this is somebody that has had the ability to play on an everyday basis with injuries, had come through in a lot of ways. I mean, he had 6 RBIs in a ball game one time against the New York Mets. Go along with 3 hits in those 6 RBIs. Curveball has stayed up in the strike zone, did not get to the bottom of it, typically like Ubaldo. He was able to dump this into the outfield. Long run for Hop to get to the ball. So when he got over to it, Ojeda with above average speed pushed himself into second base.
And Rodrigo Lopez has 3 hits this year, 5 in his career. And he was
well,
a little bit late on that.
He better turn it up a notch or 2. That alarm didn't go off too quick in the head when it said swing the bat. You know, why not just swing as hard as you can? As soon as his hand starts moving forward, you swing. Swing as hard as you can. At least look like you're trying to hit it.
Well, maybe swing as quick as you can. I don't know if either would work right now for Rodrigo.
Yeah, what it did do, that base hit got to flip that lineup over again. A ball with a couple of strikeouts in the inning.
3 punch outs. We go to the third, no score. Colorado Rockies baseball on FSN is brought to you by AT&T. Switch to the nation's fastest 3G network. AT&T, a better 3G experience. By Brakes Plus, a whole lot more. By Dex One, marketing solutions, business results. By Colorado Hyundai, get more style, more MPG, and more value at your Colorado Hyundai dealers today. And by Tri-State, the power behind your local electric co-op. We go to the top of the third inning. Rodrigo Lopez is allowed a first inning single to Seth Smith. That's it. He's faced the minimum as he got a double play ground ball from Troy Tulowitzki. So it'll be Stuart, Barmes, and Jimenez to face Lopez.
Well, he's been very efficient with what he's done. 18 pitches in 2 innings. A lot of early swings by Rockies hitters. He has not thrown a lot of pitches.
Rodrigo's coming off a fine performance against the Dodgers. Didn't win the ball game, George, but he went 8 innings. He allowed 4 runs, 2 earned runs, 6 hits, struck out 4, walked just 1.
And all that covered in 115 pitches.
And Stewart's in a hole 0-2. He must lead the league in 0-2 counts. Doesn't it seem that way?
Well, a lot of guys, you know, he likes to take a pitch. And once that gets around the league, a lot of times what you see then is you're going to see a fastball for a strike. And then when that happens very quickly, then he becomes an aggressive hitter. They throw the breaking ball in the dirt. So there's the changeup. And that's one thing San Francisco did with Ian Stewart. They also did it with Seth Smith. They did it with Gonzalez. They soft stuff away when way ahead in the count. See if you can get him to chase it. Asked for a fastball up, wants it out over the plate, but up. A little bit too much of the plate. Stewart able to fight it off.
Here's the 1-2 again, and Stewart chops it to first. 1 out. Today's big hit of the week is brought to you by Mako. Well, on Tuesday in the 11th inning, Clint Barmes comes through. He rips it down the left field line, and that provided the difference as the Rockies would beat the Giants in consecutive ball games at AT&T Park. Our Mako big hit of the week. And here is Barmes, driven in 26 runs out of the 8-hole. Clint sometimes is criticized in some corners because he averages where people would like to see it, including Clint Barmes. But you can't knock production. Out of the 8-hole, 26 RBIs. Stewart has 30 in front of him, the 7-hole. The 26 RBIs is within 2 of Troy Tulowitzki, who hits basically cleanup every day. He's hitting 3rd right now. It's 8 more than Brad Hopp, who is banged up. It's more than Miguel Olivo. It's more than Seth Smith, who has 25. It's 3rd on the club.
Well, and again, go match up 7 and 8 in a lineup with anybody else in baseball and see if they got 56 RBIs.
Yeah, the problem, and as you know, George, and Jim Tracy was talking about this today, the problem with the Rockies offense really hasn't been what's happening 7 and 8. Is you don't expect those guys necessarily to hit 300, but Stewart's, you know, throwing out, you know, the occasional home run, big one on Friday, a 3-run shot. Barmes, as we've discussed, it's the middle of the order and the inconsistent production. 1 and 2 on Barmes.
Well, off the plate, tried to get him to chase. They wanted it because it was center cut to the catcher Snyder from where he sat behind home plate.
And a changeup by Lopez strikes out Barmes. Well, to underscore what we're talking about, and Todd Helton hasn't hit a good groove yet. We all know that. The 3-hole for the Rockies in terms of average ranks 28th. In RBIs, it is last in baseball, and the Rockies are the only team without a home run from a 3-hole hitter. And 55 games in, that's it's almost unheard of. Your 3-hole hitters, typically you're the best hitter on your club in terms of average, and also the ability to produce some home runs and doubles and that sort of thing.
Well, it's obviously been a struggle. That's just something the ball club's going to have to figure it out. And Jim Tracy said it. There's history with these people that have hit in this position before. And that history needs to repeat itself. And if I'm sitting here 2 months from now talking about this same thing, that the RBI guys in that 3 and 4 hole, then we're not going to be in the National League West race. Those guys are going to have to hit the baseball. Well, another quick inning for Lopez. 31 pitches so far in this game.
Today's E470 Road Ahead is brought to you by E470. Quick, easy, and available to anyone. Test drive it today. Rockies begin a homestand tomorrow night against the Astros. And after 4 ball games, Thursday, by the way, is a day ball game, the Toronto Blue Jays will come to town. That's the E470 Road Ahead. Top of the order for the Arizona Diamondbacks. Kelly Johnson steps up. He struck out on a splitter his first time, and that's in there for a strike.
You can see Ubaldo trying to not repeat into the same area. That fastball in, the first pitch away and down, going back out and then down again at 96. 3 different speeds, 88, 93, 96. It's a pretty good formula to success if you have the ability to go do that.
2-2.
First time through the lineup, you can see 41 pitches, kind of high for him. 6 of 9 first pitch strikes, and then they would start to extend that zone. And this is something the Diamondbacks hitters see more pitches than anybody in baseball.
Which is a change from a year ago. It was a focal point during spring training. Here's the 3-2, and this ball is hit pretty well to center field. Cargo going back, and he gets there. As smooth and as graceful a center fielder as you will find in the game. Kelly Johnson gave that second look out there as if to say that wasn't supposed to be caught.
Great catch.
Today's health report is brought to you by the Exemplis St. Joseph Cardiac and Vascular Institute. The most hearts, the most experience. Houston Street threw on Friday. A scoreless inning through 12 pitches. 8 were in the strike zone. Very clean inning for Street, and he will pitch again on the 10th, or excuse me, on the 7th, which is tomorrow. He'll pitch an inning, and then he'll go on the 10th and the 11th back-to-back, be reevaluated in Denver the next day. 0-1 the count on Connor Jackson, aboard on a Tulowitzki error. And this is bounced up the middle. Tulo will throw him out. Let's take a look at our Geico quote of the day. Sparky Anderson, if I ever find a pitcher who has heat, a good curve, and a slider, I might seriously consider marrying him, or at least proposing.
Well, he had a few.
Spoken like a baseball lifer, right?
Yeah, with the year he started 35-5, and that was in 1984. He had a few on that ball club. Jack Morris, one of those guys.
Yeah, great Tiger team. He had some pretty good teams in Cincinnati, as I recall, as well. LaRoche had a single his first time up. Diamondbacks loaded the bases in the first. Again, with 1 out, Connor Jackson reached on an error by Tulowitzki, then a single and a walk. 0-2. Baldo got out of it by inducing Chris Young to bounce one up the middle. Barmes flipped to Tulowitzki, who made a great pirouette at the bag and fired A 95-mile-an-hour fastball to help just in time to get the fast Chris Young. Here's the 0-2. Back foot slider. Colorado Lottery replay, first of the ball game. Here's that double play. Young kind of a defensive swing. And look at Tulowitzki around the bag. How good is that? Play those non-winning scratch tickets at ColoradoLottery.com. And he went back there and missed. 2-2.
Well, you see what Jimenez is trying to do with the LaRoche. This is a big power bat. This is a very good fastball hitter. And so when they put the swing over with Barmas there, here's what he's trying to do to him. He is trying to pound him to the inside half, because see how the open stance and then how he closes through on it? So you got 5 pitches in. You had 2 strikes, then you go fastball away, you just blow him away because you get him looking in.
Nice pattern there. 4 punch outs for Ubaldo. We'll go to the 4th, no score. This date in history is brought to you by Dex One Marketing Solutions Business Results, June the 6th, 2006, or 6606. The Dodgers scored 6 runs in the 6th inning during the 6th game of a homestand. Told you they track everything in this game. Drew Goodman, George Frazier, Alana Rizzo, top of the 4th inning. Second look for the Rockies lineup at Rodrigo Lopez. Carlos Gonzalez struck out his first time. Lopez typically pretty good his first time through the lineup, but the 2nd through 4th time through the lineup, the league is hitting close to 300 against him.
Well, and that's what you want to look for now. See if the ball starts to get elevated once he gets past a certain pitch count. He's only at 32. He's been very efficient. Ground ball outs, not a lot of balls hit hard. See, that's the way they went after Gonzalez in the started to elevate the fastball after showing pitches down. He's ahead 0-2.
And if you think of his recent strikeouts, George, it's exactly as you're describing. It's fastball up.
Yeah, this time, see, same exact thing. Give him fastball, but he wants it about mask high. See, not solid contact on the ball there. You're catching a ball game, and you have a plan in your mind of where you think you can have your best success. You got a guy like Lopez in these first 3 innings be able to match up exactly where you're wanting to go. It really makes your life pretty easy. Yeah, he went fastball again, but they want it up again. See, same exact result as the first inning on a ball up.
And you know what? Until he adjusts, that's how the big leagues works. He's going to get that pitch a lot with 2 strikes. Today's Fast Cash Sideline Report is brought to you by Fast Cash Gold Centers, where you'll always get 40% more for your gold. Here's Alana.
All right, guys, thanks very much. Seth Smith had an opportunity to be an Arizona Diamondback. He was drafted by the Diamondbacks in the 48th round as a pitcher, and I asked him about it. He said there is nothing more unappealing about going in the 48th round. We never even discussed a contract. He said, I just told him I wasn't interested. He did have a chance to be drafted a bit higher as a position player with another organization, but it just didn't pan out. And he said pitching wasn't something I really wanted to do. I always wanted to play college football and baseball, so I went to Ole Miss, and I'd say that it worked out, guys.
I'd say it worked out too, Alana. I think a lot of guys want that college experience of going to college. You know, when I hear guys say things like, you know, it's 48th round, it wasn't very appealing, this and that. And you think about 50 rounds, 1,500 picks. Everybody had 1,550 or 1,530 when you had the sandwiches. Think of all the guys playing a game of baseball. Think how many high school players, how many junior college players, how many of with all the divisions in college. You know, what is it, $1 million, $1.5 million? Fly ball to right field by Smith. That, you know, playing the game of baseball, and you're one of those minute few that got picked.
Do you know what? I couldn't agree with you more. I think it's quite an honor, and I know Seth, and I know every guy in that Rockies clubhouse realizes it's a privilege to play at this level. It took talent, a lot of hard work, and they deserve, you know, all of that credit for getting here. But you know, when you look back to your point, George, 1,500 kids or so selected in the major league draft.
Out of 1.5 million to 2 million different people that are out there that are available for that draft.
Pretty special.
Well, it's a special time for you. And even, you know, what you mentioned, and you mentioned this, playing at this level, rounds 1 and 2, that'll be Monday night. You'll see that on the MLB Network. The next day they'll flip it over and do more rounds as they start to pick. The Rockies, you saw when they pick. But I think the one thing, too, it's a privilege to play, whether it's rookie ball, A ball, AAA, AA. because I can't tell you how many calls I get in the wintertime. Could you just give me a chance? Talking about fourth-year senior guys that didn't get opportunities to go play. They want you to make that call to get the chance because they love to play the game.
Yeah, you look at the draft of 50 players. If you get 5 of those players to the big leagues in some capacity, as Hop steps in with 2 outs and Tulu at first, that's looked upon as a good draft. The stark reality is, even of those select few that get drafted, most never come close to getting to the big leagues. It is a very difficult road. 1 strike count on Hop. And Brad throws out a single to left center field. Tulowitzki is going to go first to third. Rockies looking for a little bit of 2-out magic, and Miguel Olivo coming up.
Well, Olivo got a fastball up the last time and didn't do much with it. Here's a ball down and away. They're going to keep the power away from Brad. If you're going to hurt me, you're going to go to the opposite field with it. So he puts out a soft line drive into left field. Jackson goes over to get it, the former first baseman. Very athletic. Tulowitzki had everything in front of him, made that decision, and it was a good one.
Miguel 11 for his last 22 at the plate. That's high, ball 1. No scores. The Rockies hit in the 4th inning. Jimenez and Rodrigo Lopez hooking up.
244 average with men in scoring position. Lopez on the year has yet to throw a wild pitch. You always try to look at that. The Rockies very aggressive on balls in the dirt.
One and one.
Good location, down and away after a fastball there. It doesn't get called off of the plate, but it does get called, excuse me, for a strike.
23 home runs last year for Olivo. He's got 8 this year. You can tell in Miguel's approach, George, never going to be a guy that walks a ton. He's already walked more this year than at any point in his career through the first third of a season. Rockies 0 for 11 last night. Runners in scoring position, just 4 such hits this year. But Miguel's being a little more selective. Here's the 2-1. And this is in the air to right field. And it's an easy play for Parra. Rockies leave 2 on. Let's take a look at our job done right player of the series. Unusual, we give the player of the series to a guy who hasn't had a start in the series. In fact, Ryan Roberts has 2 at-bats. Game-winning hit on Friday night in the bottom of the 9th, and then yesterday when it was 1-0, he ripped a double against Yoeli Chacin that made it 3-0. Our job done right player of the series, Ryan Roberts, presented by the Colorado Association of Mechanical and Plumbing Contractors. To have your next building or service project done right the first time, visit jobdoneright.org. And the slider is a strike on Mark Reynolds, leading off for the Diamondbacks in the bottom of the 4th inning. Diamondbacks have a couple of hits. Another slider, and it's 0-2 on Reynolds. He walked his first time up, battled back from a 1-2 count. See you later. 98-mile-an-hour heat. Reynolds looking for something else. 5 strikeouts for Ubaldo. Time for the Breaks Plus Take a Break poll of the game. Text your answer to 95323. Which is easier to do? We do this every year, so we'll see who's been paying attention. Is it easier to hit for the cycle historically or throw a no-hitter? If you think it's the cycle, vote Rocks 1. If you think it's a no-hitter, vote Rocks 2. Chris Young takes ball 1. Show this text at Brakes Plus in June and receive an oil change and filter, rotate and balance tires, and front wiper blades for only $50. Pretty good deal. Brakes Plus.
You know, I was sitting there thinking about the deal, and I turned around to Tracy Ringlesby, who keeps stats for us out on the road. I said, you know, how many no-hitters are there? How many cycles are there? I mean, it's, you know, it's just crazy. Well, total amounts.
We've done it every year, if you remember, George,
sure.
and the numbers are very, very close.
All I know is it's really hard to do.
Yeah.
Both sides of the thing are really hard to do.
Change up and a gorgeous one. 2-2 on Young. Lifetime hitting below 190 against Jimenez, and it's another change up. Ground ball to third. Stewart gets a little action. That wasn't a change up. That was a 99-mile-an-hour fastball.
Well, I'd like to mention something right now. Baseball lost a very, very good friend of mine and a good friend of a lot of people, executives throughout baseball, scouts about baseball. Jerry Stevenson had worked for the Boston Red Sox for the last 3 or 4 years, passed away today at 67 years old. He played 7 years in the big leagues. Always would be in Los Angeles and kind of hung out with the LA crew, the West Coast crew. But an integral part in a lot of the success of what the Red Sox have lately, as you see all the scouts in behind home plate that are here today working, that live here in the Phoenix and travel to this area. Jerry's going to be very missed. I know as a friend and as a friend of baseball. They lost a good one today.
One to the count on Gerardo Parra.
You know, you said those numbers very similar, and with 2 outs, I got to do this quick because he's going to
look out. And nobody's going to get this baseball. It's going to take a while. Running around the bases is Parra. He's going to stop at third. Smith and Gonzalez nearly collided.
Trying to watch the flight of the ball. Drew talked about it yesterday with this silver roof. You can't take your eyes off of it. You really got to stay right on the baseball. Both these guys are going to make a catch on it. In left center field, Smith and Gonzalez. And this, folks, could have been ugly. This is really close. Two big men running together, and the ball bounces in between, and Gonzalez has to recover. Both guys move out of the way to miss a collision, and Gonzalez recovers and gets back up to the baseball. They got it back in. Smith, another, you know, this former football player. This is a big man. Going to run into each other in the outfield. So with 2 outs, Ubaldo's going to have to do a number here to get Chris Snyder. By the way, that number, 289 cycles, 266 no-hitters.
Chris Snyder takes low ball 1. Snyder struck out his first time. 2 outs. Parra at third on a fly ball triple.
Yeah, but the one thing I've noticed today about Mark Wegner is not a lot of low strikes called for either side.
Ground ball to third. Stewart with time. He recognized it, makes a great throw. He had Chris Snyder running. He gathered himself, made a strong throw. Parra left at third. We'll go to the 5th no score. Our Excel Energy fun fact, the Chase Field roof, it opens and closes in less than 5 minutes. Pretty quick. Electrical costs open and close, only $2. And if you're wondering, is the roof going to be open or not, and you're coming down to the ball game, there's actually a line that you can call and get a roof forecast. Did you know that running your dishwasher when it's full saves you energy and money? Get a jump on other cost-saving tips. Visit responsiblebynature.com. Rodrigo Lopez continuing this recent trend of good starts from the much maligned Arizona rotation.
Well, the rotation has pitched well. You know, and everybody wants to talk about how bad they're all facets of their game. Really, it jumps out at you as their bullpen. And their rotation, you mentioned early in this telecast, the last 6 games earned run average under 2. They've carried this ball club, giving them a chance to win in these ball games. And even Ian Kennedy the first night, one mistake to his former high school teammate Ian Stewart, and threw up a 3 spot. But remember too, those were all unearned runs. They'd made an error prior to that.
Yeah, Carlos Rosa struggled yesterday, but other than that, the bullpen did a really good job. Heilman walked the first guy he faced, forcing in a run. After that, he shut the Rockies down in the 8th. Then Qualls was 1, 2, 3 in the 9th. And Friday, Esmerling Vasquez did a terrific job out of the bullpen for Arizona. Allowed them to stay in contact, if you will, with the Rockies, and ultimately they won it in the bottom of the ninth. Helton leading off. He was caught looking his first time up. Again, hitting out of the 6 hole today for the first time since 1999. And the off-speed delivery is in there. 1-1 on top. Earlier this season, when Helton was dropped from 3rd to 5th in the lineup, he was asked, you know, how are you handling that? And Todd said, as long as I'm not hitting 9th, I'm okay with it. Todd's all about helping his club win.
It's all about being positive about a situation. You're not in the papers arguing about what a manager's decision may be. I mean, you know, it's all about trying to win a baseball game. That's all it is.
And Todd is a guy of immense pride, and well, he should be. And he's had an extraordinary career. And there are times this year where he's felt good at the plate. Felt like, you know, he was on time. He had a double at AT&T Park a few days ago to the opposite field.
I'll say this about Todd too, and the one thing that motivates this guy is failure. The fear of failure is a great motivator as an athlete. Nobody likes to read in the paper when you're hitting 258 and you're a 334 lifetime. Nobody likes to read 1 home run, 10 RBIs, or whatever they are. And you don't like that. And that motivates you.
And this ball is pulled to the corner in right field. Parra gets over there and he's going to hold Helton to a single. That's a very good job by Gerardo Parra. So Lopez went off speed, and Todd Helton, so adept at keeping the hands back, drove it to right. So leadoff knock, 4th hit for the Rockies against Lopez. Here's the Amica hit zone on Ian Stewart.
Well, they pick a lot of spots, particularly down and away from him. If you get the ball up a little bit in the zone, obviously he's going to hurt you. When the home run hit in that 278 spot from Ian Stewart, or Ian Kennedy, excuse me, by Mr. Stewart. One thing about the big leagues, if they find a hole, they're going to dig it. And they're going to try to dig it as deep as they can. They'll stay in there pounding you in situations to prevent you from having success.
1-0 on Stewart. For each Colorado hit from now through the end of the year, Amica will donate $10 to the Boys and Girls Club of Denver. One and one. We've chatted about how well Stewart has moved around third base since he's come up. He's got great quickness and range for a guy who's 230+ pounds. He's committed only 4 errors this year. Tied for first in fielding percentage at third base in the National League, along with the Phillies' Placido Polanco.
Yeah, defensively, they're setting everything straight up the middle everywhere on the ground and in the air. So what they're going to try to do with Stewart is probably just try to work both sides. If you off-speed him, he's going to try to pull the baseballer. There's that big hole on the right side with Helton on. One pitch we showed you hitting $148 is when he spins the breaking ball or the changeup. Right there where that catcher's mitt sets on the knee of Chris Snyder. He's going to try to elevate like he has against Gonzalez. Work.
That's 5 strikeouts for Rodrigo Lopez. 1 out. That'll bring up Clint Barmes. That matches a season high for Lopez in strikeouts. Who wants tacos? Fans, remember, if the Rockies score 7 or more runs during any game, go to participating Colorado Taco Bell locations the next day between 4 and 6 and get your Rockies tacos special only from Taco Bell. And Barmes with a base hit to center field. Well, with 1 out, Ubaldo come up. You assume he'll be trying to move the runners to second and third for Carlos Gonzalez. Quest high-speed pitch. Ubaldo, I missed it. George, he had triple digits, huh?
Yeah, missed it too. Lopez up to 91 with that sinker. Ubaldo hit the C note.
That's brought to you by Quest, the high-speed internet provider of the Colorado Rockies.
And quick decisions by managers, and you're talking about Jim Tracy in a dugout relaying it to Tommy Runnels of what you're going to do. Ubaldo Jimenez averages, it's not off the charts. It's under 100, but he's a guy that handles the bat and become a much better hitter. In his mind, in a split second, all right, I got a hot hitter in the on-deck circle in Gonzalez. He's the most RBIs at 34. Choice is sacrifice, get the bunt down. Sacrifices, get to second and third, take a shot with Gonzalez. Or do they walk Gonzalez and go to Smith? I mean, those are the things you've got to work in your mind as a manager. Or do I tell Ubaldo, try to get the bunt down, or why don't we slug bunt? And he's looking on that first bunt attempt, Jim is, he's looking to see what the defensive alignment is. Did Reynolds come? Did your second baseman open up? Where did the holes start in the infield? And the fact that you have a very good fielding pitcher on the mound in Lopez.
You also, if I'm A.J. Hinch, won't be surprised they put on a backdoor pick play on Helton, who needs to get a good jump to get to third.
Now you still have, if you're going to do it twice, I think you got to force the issue and do it again. First 12,500 adults 21 and over will receive a Coors Light cooler bag on June the 24th. The Boston Red Sox are in town. 1-800-388-ROCK, or just go to ColoradoRockies.com for tickets.
Two strikes on Jimenez. Get a third opportunity to get the bunt down. And he does. Lopez didn't even look to third. Snyder did the coaching for him. Yelled 1-1-1, and Jimenez with the sacrifice, and now Cargo will come up with two in scoring position. No score in the fifth.
The one thing that Lopez has done with young Mr. Gonzalez, he's shown him one pitch to the inner half of the plate, one time in each at bat, and then he steadily climbs the ladder with him, and it's away from him. So he's trying to nullify the power on him and stay with his strength, which is going to be a ball up in the zone. So as a young hitter now, you have to go back. He's done it to you twice. You would anticipate doing it again. Lopez goes to the windup with Helton at third and 2 outs. You look back at this last strikeout, look where the pitch, much like it was to Ian Stewart. He has pitched Brad Hopp this way, Gonzalez, and Ian Stewart. Up and away with a running fastball.
With so many left-handed hitters, they prefer the ball down. And I know that is the case with Carlos Gonzalez.
To get him reached. Now he has a very long swing, so what you have to do as a pitcher, try to take it farther off of the plate if he continues to swing. But put it in one of the weaker swing paths that he has. Down, he's going to flip it hard into left center field. That's why they're staying up. So you see where the pitch is, up out of the zone and off of the plate, not a strike.
Cargo will expand. He's walked only 9 times this year. That's good. He stayed off that pitch. 2-1. And this is smoke through the left side, base hit. 1 run is scored. Here comes the trail runner, Barnes. 2-0 Colorado. Carlos Gonzalez comes through against Arizona again. Yeah, they kept pitching him away, and finally Cargo burned him.
It was down, though, not up. That's the difference. This pitch was down in the strike zone and covered more of the plate because he was behind in the count from where he was. A swing and a miss on a ball up. This ball stayed down, and Cargo stayed on it. It shot a rocket right by Ojeda into the outfield. Connor Jackson has to go into the gap to his glove side. Everything's off balance. That makes it easy for Clint Barmes to score the second run. 36 RBIs now for Gonzalez.
That leads the club. And again, Cargo leading the club, and just about every one of his at-bats this year, save a handful of games, he has hit the leadoff role. 7 of 11 swiping bags is Carlos Gonzalez. They got it. Lopez picks off Carlos Gonzalez, but Cargo comes through with a 2-run single. And the Rockies have a 2-0 lead for Ubaldo Jimenez. Colorado Rockies baseball on FSN is brought to you by the official fan-to-fan marketplace of the Colorado Rockies. By Wells Fargo. Wells Fargo customers visit wellsfargo.com/Rockies for 2-for-1 club level seats. By Comcast Searchlight Channel 888 on your Comcast remote for real estate, automotive, careers, and more. And by Steel and your local Steel dealers for a location near you. Visit steeldealers.com. Two-strike count on Augie Ojeda. He doubled to right center his first time up. Ojeda hitting out of the 8-hole. First start at shortstop all year. And Drew didn't go at shortstop earlier this year. Nice play by Jimenez. When he didn't get a start, it was Tony Abreu, but Abreu's down with an injury. So Ojeda playing shortstop today. 1 out. That'll bring up Rodrigo Lopez.
Well, one thing about Ubaldo, a lot of guys will soft toss it, a lot of guys will run it, but not Ubaldo. He's going to air it out. The only thing is, if he gets under it a little bit, at 90+ miles an hour, you get a little sail to it. Nice job of receiving the baseball and getting the first out here in the 5th after your club just gave you a 2-run lead.
Lopez struck out on 3 heaters. Lopez saying something under his breath to Oliva with a little grin on his face. And probably take it easy on me.
A lot of pitchers walk up, you try to ease them way into it, just kind of tell guys, throw the ball over. I know I can't hit it. Just tell me a strike. Just call fastballs.
2-0. Very focused 26-year-old Ubaldo Jimenez. And it's 3-0. Ball sunk out of the strike zone. You described it earlier. Mark Wegner, pretty consistent. He's not giving anybody the low strike.
There's the pitch by inning on this so far on Ubaldo through the first 4 innings. 29 in that first. That made everything jump, and then it got a lot better right after that. And he's at 7 here in the 5th. Make that 8 at 93 and a strike to make it a 3-2 count.
Somebody out of the crowd yelled, "Come on, Blue." Right down Broadway. Here's the 3-2. And took him 6 pitches, but the result is kind of what we figured it would be. 6 strikeouts for Ubaldo Jimenez. 2 outs, and Kelly Johnson will come up. And that's in there for a strike.
Johnson with a deep drive into left center field. His previous at bat, Gonzalez made a nice play on it. Floated. That's a little bit of a belt music.
That was a splitter and a nasty one. There have been 3 hits in the ball game. An Adam LaRose single. Augie Ojeda double to right center. And a pop fly to left that dropped for a triple when Gonzalez and Smith almost ran into each other. And this is a soft serve single to right center field. Connor Jackson will come up. Repair that chip in your windshield. Call Safelite Elite Auto Glass 303-287-5000 or see them online at safelite.com. Jackson reached on an error by Tulowitzki in the first when the Diamondbacks loaded the bases and then grounded to short.
Well, that was pretty quick at 95 on a fastball inside from Jimenez. He's one of the guys in the lineup that will swing very quickly at pitches. He doesn't want to get to that split or the hard slider counts to where you get the punch out. Choked up about a half an inch on the bat and off the knob.
This ball to center field, but right at Carlos Gonzalez. And George, that's now 31 consecutive innings of shutout baseball by Ubaldo Jimenez, a new Rockies record. The old record was held in relief by Gabe White a decade ago. He goes out there, a lot of records fall. 2-0 Colorado as we go to the 6th. Two 2-0 Colorado. Carlos Gonzalez, a 2-run single. That's the difference in this ball game right now as he talks to bench coach Tommy Reynolds. Take a look at the AT&T trivia question. Who caught Randy Johnson's perfect game against the Braves in 2004? Seth Smith to lead off against Lopez. And he gets under one to left field. Easy play for Connor Jackson. Going back to Carlos Gonzalez for a moment. Talked about the Rockies middle of the order issues where they haven't driven in the kind of runs they're capable of. Well, out of the one hole, they're among the top 5 in baseball in runs batted in because of that man. Top 3 or 4 in baseball when you include home runs also. Out of the leadoff spot. Here's Tulowitzki with 1 out. He singled up the middle in the 4th. And this ball's crushed to right center field. Way back and out of here. Make it 3-0. Home run number 8 for Tulowitzki.
Well, a lot of power throughout the ballpark for Tulowitzki, and he's going to get a ball up out of the zone. Again, very upright delivery, upright stance, and you end up having a good result for Tulowitzki and the Rockies. This fastball out over the plate. Tulo, great job of lifting this ball. It just tells you the type of power he has. Top shelf, 376 to that right field wall with an 8-foot fence.
That'll bring up Brad Hopp. Hopp single his last time. He also is lined out to left. Hit the ball hard twice. Curveball misses, ball 1.
That's one of the first curveballs he's thrown in this ball game.
And you know what else, George? We talked about the 3-hole not producing a home run. The only team in baseball not to have a home run out of the 3-hole. Well, now the Rockies do. And you know who we can thank for that? Tris Tracy fell asleep. That's our statistician Zach Goodman doing that.
Hard work.
Two and 2 on Brad Hopp. Brad hits this one foul down the left field line. Rockies with an earned run average of 371 coming in, 5th in the National League. And on offense, their batting average coming in was 11th. Those stats Not usually aligned that way historically for Colorado. And this ball back up the middle. So Brad with his second knock. And he's had 3 real good at bats this afternoon. 1 on 1 out from Miguel Olivo. Fly ball center field, fly ball right field.
The Rockies are hosting a food drive at all gates before the June 7th game, benefiting the Denver Rescue Mission. 303 Rockies for more information about the food drive and buying tickets to that ball game. Well, Marv Foley's in town with Strip Matter back home. Mark is, and Marv, who's a Roby catching instructor, yesterday he's bragging. He throws maybe the best batting practice. He and Rick Matthews, players love this guy. He said Brad Hopp will have 2 knocks. That was yesterday's game. Well, sorry, it came a day late, a little less than 18 hours from that comment being made. He's come up with a couple of base hits today.
Look out. This ball smothered to deep center field by Olivo, and it's tracked down by Young. Brad Hopp was already around second. He retraces his steps and gets back to first. Off the bat, I didn't think Young had a chance.
Well, you're looking at 2 very good accomplished center fielders in Young and Gonzalez, and they've both made very nice catches. It is similar to Gonzalez on a fastball. Hit very deep into this gap in left center field. He tracks it, chases it, and able to make the catch up against the wall. Then it was up to Hopp to make the move to get all the way back. Hey, Lopez, that's an out. Take it any way you can get him.
Todd Helton, who singled and scored last inning at the plate. And a good jump. The throw to second is into center field. And Brad Hopp is going to move to third. So the Rockies' Brad Hopp, who seldom steals bases, swipes one there. It's his first of the year. And now he's at third base for Helton.
First error of the year, and an errorless streak broke for Chris Snyder.
That's right. That errorless streak had gone on for a long period of time. 240 games. You have to go back to August 22nd, 2007, the last time Chris Snyder had an error. And it's 2-0 on Helton.
Now thinking about a little bit of that too. Redmond 263, Matheny at 252.
That's in big league history.
Or 262, I should say. And then Snyder with a current streak. The other 2 guys out of baseball.
2-1. And typically, the only way you're going to see a catcher get an error is on a throw. They don't handle a pitch. It's a pass ball, not an error. That slider touched the inside corner, according to 12-year umpire Mark Wegner. You can see on the Ford strike zone. Todd looking back because it was in. 3-0, 2 outs. Hopp at third. Here's the 2-2.
Tried to throw the back foot slider in. Young hitters probably would commit to that. Not help. 1 for 2 in this ball game with a single back in the 5th. Back fastball. If they take the fastball, see if they take it up to Helton or if they leave it down in the zone.
Ball 4. Helton will go to first, and that'll bring up Stewart.
And that'll bring out
Stottlemyre.
Yep. Mel Stottlemyre Jr. will come out to visit with Lopez. His pitch count was pretty steady early. Now all of a sudden it's really climbed up these last 3 or 4 innings. 80 now. When you look on the inning side of this thing, he made quick work of the Rockies early. Just 18 pitches, then 31 to get through, and then you look at him 46 through 4, and then now all of a sudden it's getting a little bit higher here. 5-4 in the last couple. There's no left-hander down in their bullpen to match up with anybody. So,
To be honest, George, he's pitched a good ball game. The trouble is he's facing the best pitcher in baseball right now.
Sure he is. Well, the old quality start stat, 6 innings and only 3 runs given up is quality start. So, when he starts to look back at some of the starts by Lopez, his record doesn't reflect what Ubaldo's has at 10-1. but it could be better than what it is now at 2-3.
And Stewart bounces one up the middle. Kelly Johnson will flip to Augie Ojeda, and that's that for the Rockies in the 6th. They added a run on a one-out home run by Troy Tulowitzki, his 8th of the year. 3-0 Rockies. Middle of 6. Welcome back to the 6th inning. Time for the Coors Light Freeze Can. Bases loaded, 1 out in the 1st inning against Ubaldo Jimenez, and Troy Tulowitzki makes a beautiful pirouette on a feed from Clint Barmas to turn 2 on Chris Young. That was the Frost Brewed Coors Light Freeze Can. It'll be Adam LaRoche leading off out of the 3-hole against Ubaldo on a big curveball. Where is that? He's in the strike zone.
A lot of times you see it up in the strike zone. Bell-tie type curveballs will not typically get called because of where it originates from.
Ball, a broken bat fly ball to Brad Hopp, 1 out. Mark Reynolds will be coming up. AAA, how far did it travel? Troy Tulowitzki's home run. And it went 395 feet to the opposite field. How far did it travel? Brought to you by AAA Travel. Reynolds a walk, and he was caught looking on an 0-2. 98-mile-an-hour fastball. And a slider he waves through.
Well, that's what he did in his previous at bat. He started off slider away, then he came with a changeup down and in, and just blew away fastball looking. Very good hard slider again. That was at 89 miles an hour. It had that tilt moving away from the right-handed hitter. See what Olivo chooses to do here. Fastball, take it to the outside corner and throw it for a strike. Lock up, see you later, grab some pine meat. That's a good pitch.
That was the same at bat he had back in the 4th inning. That's 7 strikeouts for Jimenez, 2 outs. Chris Young coming up. Let's answer our AT&T trivia question. Looking for the guy who caught Randy Johnson's perfect game in May of 2004 at Turner Field in Atlanta. Well, it's a guy who was briefly with the Rockies. Robbie Hammett is with the Rockies minor league organization. Look, Robbie's more excited than the big unit was. Robbie's now in AAA with the Yankees.
Has bounced around a little bit. He's a very valuable guy. Playing the infield, the outfield, can catch. He got the start that day behind the plate and caught a perfect game.
Isn't that something? 2-0s in there, 2-1 on Young. Two.
San Diego won today 6-5 over Philadelphia. The Pirates lost to the Giants 6-5. 4-2 Atlanta over LA in the 5th. Tim Hudson on the hill for Atlanta. Hard slider, like to take it out of the zone with 2 strikes. Drop down a little bit on it. He'd be able to get this out, flip it over to Todd Helton.
A 1-2-3 6th inning for Jimenez. Rockies up 3-0. We'll see Barmas lead things off. Let's take a look at our Cooney Lexus look back. Scoreless game in the 5th inning, and Carlos Gonzalez, who was struck out twice by Rodrigo Lopez, comes through with a 2-run single. Helton, who that singled was aboard. There's a home run from Tulowitzki to make it 3-0. So after Helton and Barmes were delivered, Tulo delivers himself. Those highlights brought to you by Cooney Lexus, where luxury has an address. Clint Barmes drives one to center field. Got under it a smidgen. Easy play for Parra. I said center field, right field for Parra, and it's one out. That'll bring up Ubaldo. 0 for 1, a sac bunt. Big sac bunt in the 5th inning. Scoreless ball game, George. And Helton and Barmes with one out at first and second. And it took him to his 3rd opportunity, an 0-2 count. He got the bunt down, and that set the stage for Cargo's base hit.
Well, it did, and I was a little bit surprised because the guy with your leading RBI, swinging the bat his best. He's a little bit motivated because you traded him away anyway from the very first time from your organization. They pitch a little more carefully. I'm not saying intentionally walking, but the old unintentional intentional. Put the ball away from him, keep it out of the strike zone. They didn't do that. Cargo made him pay for it.
Two-strike count on Ubaldo, looking to save energy and money, aren't we all? Find out how the little changes add up at togetherwesave.com, your local Touchstone Energy cooperative, delivering reliable power, energy-saving tools, and more. Two and two. Three and two. So it was really nice about that base hit. Number one, it broke the tie. That's obvious. But George, prior to that hit on this road trip, which the Rockies are 2 and 3, they were 4 for 38 with runners in scoring position. 2 outs.
Well, and that's the thing about it. You get in a well-pitched ball game and you got a couple of guys going at it. Lopez, one of those, and then obviously Jimenez. That, the one mistake you might make, the one shot, you get that opportunity, and it all had to work, and it wasn't easy, but they were able to get it done.
Cargo hitting close to 500 this year against Arizona. He's a hit in 10 of his last 11 ball games. He was on that slider. Take a look at that hit again, brought to you by the Colorado Lottery. Pitch away, and he smoked it through the hole. Helton and Barmes coming around. Reminder, from now through the end of the month, replay those non-winning tickets. This is down the left field line. This could be double territory. And Gonzalez to second with those long strides, and a head-first slide ahead of the tag by Kelly Johnson. So a 2-out double for Gonzalez.
The impressive thing about Gonzalez is where they pitch him, he seems to hit the baseball. Away, he shot it through there. This time it's away from him in the zone. He shoots it by Reynolds, who's off the line in the 7th inning, typically a pull hitter up. Gonzalez just turns it up. The key to making him safe at second base was how he cut first base. It wasn't a big wide turn. There's so many guys lose ground on second to home, first to second base, first to third as they take wide turns, and it just loses direction and time, and that's how they get thrown out.
Chance for the Rockies to expand their lead. 3 runs on 9 hits. No runs, just 4 hits for Arizona. Gonzalez at second, 2 outs for Seth Smith, 1 for 3.
We'll make sure to end the ball game on June the 9th. That's the first 8,000 that come through the gates of that ballpark at Coors Field will receive a Great Clips coupon.
And the breaking ball is popped up to shallow left. Jackson makes a catch, and Carlos Gonzalez is left at second base. Stretch time in the desert, 3-0 Rockies. Colorado Rockies baseball on FSN is brought to you by the Courtyard by Marriott on the 16th Street Mall. Call 303-571-1114 and ask about our hometown sports package. By Steel and your local Steel dealers. For a location near you, visit steeldealers.com. By Exempla Healthcare, most hearts, most experience, stjosephheart.org. And by your neighborhood Toyota stores, Toyota. Moving forward. Rockies trying to move forward. Ubaldo Jimenez trying to move forward with his 11th victory. He is shutting out Arizona 3-0 as we go to the bottom of the 7th inning. Let's check in quickly with Alana Rizzo. Alana?
Guys, Gerardo Parra made his major league debut on May 13th, 2009 when Connor Jackson was placed on the disabled list. In his first major league at bat that day, he became the 100th player in major league history to hit a home run in his first at bat. And in fact, in his first 5 games at this level, he had at least 1 RBI, becoming just the 2nd player since Mike Lansing did it in 1993 in the last 30 years to accomplish that feat, guys.
Gerardo Parra can hit. He's good friends with Carlos Gonzalez. He's a native of Venezuela. Turned 23 last month. In fact, 30 days ago exactly. And Parra has a .311 career batting average at the minor level. And he's hit above .290 so far at the big league level. And the guy who first turned us on to him, George, who's in the booth next door, who knows a thing or two about hitting from the left side, Mark Grace.
Yeah, he did. He thought he was very impressed by the way his approach was at the plate. He said, that's not a guy that's going to hit, 25 home runs, but he can flat hit. There's Mark. A lot of energy doing baseball. You'll see him a lot of times on the Saturday Big Fox ball games, game of the week.
2-1 on Chris Snyder. Strikeout and a ground ball to third. Three balls and a strike. Haven't seen one of those in a while. A 3-1 count. Chill out this summer with a $1 frozen Coke or $1 frozen cherry drink from Burger King. $1 frozen drinks, limited time only. Price and participation may vary. And Snyder draws a walk, just the 2nd allowed this afternoon. Pitch count on Ubaldo Jimenez.
Pretty comfortable.
Ubaldo had an extra day of rest between his start on Memorial Day and today. He'll go on normal rest. His next start will be Friday against the Toronto Blue Jays. He'll open up that series. Here's Augie Ojeda. Rusty Riles come out in the on-deck circle for Rodrigo Lopez.
There's Rusty. Right-handed bat. They have one left-hander, and that's Stephen Drew, and he's got the bummed up finger. Probably could still swing the bat if he needed to. The velocity at 92 elevated. And by Ojeda. Let's see where he goes with this. Asked for the changeup. You saw the 5 drop down, and that's that hard split. There it is. We'll see you later. At 87 miles an hour.
That's 8 strikeouts for Ubaldo.
Well, right out of the hand, you see this thing dive. Really over-exaggerated, getting his hand on top and through the baseball to create that movement.
So Rusty Ryle will be the pinch hitter. You see the RE/MAX scoreboard below. The Yankees beat Toronto today 4-3, and in 11 innings Baltimore beats the Red Sox. First pitch swinging, foul ball. No swing, 1-1. Oh, the Reds are for real, aren't they?
Good baseball team. I mean, they've got that young kid at the top of that rotation, too, with Leak that's jumped out there fresh out of Arizona State University as the #1 draft pick and right into the rotation coming out of spring training.
Well, the word on Leak, George, we discussed him, talking to scouts, reading reports on him, was that he was close to being major league ready, but there wasn't a lot. It wasn't a lot of top end. That's kind of who he was at Arizona State. He really knew how to pitch. And
well, I think with a lot of college guys, Drew, what you see is what you get. There's not a whole lot more that they're going to develop to get a little stronger. The broken bat snap over to Barnes. They'll end it there.
Safely through 7 innings, Ubaldo and the Rockies ahead 3-0. Let's take a look at the Coors Light Cold Hard Blast. 6th inning, 2-0 ball game. Pitch away. Troy Tulowitzki drives it away. Over the wall in right center field. For Troy, his 8th home run of the year. Our Coors Light Cold Hard Blast. Take a look at the Comcast game summary. It was scoreless to the 5th inning. Carlos Gonzalez a 2-run single in the 5th, and then the home run we just showed you from Tulowitzki. That's all the scoring. The Rockies have out-hit the Diamondbacks 9-4. The Diamondbacks had a threat in the 1st inning, bases loaded, 1 out, and Jimenez got Chris Young to hit into a 4-6-3 double play. That's been about all. That man is Cesar Valdez. He'll be the new pitcher here in the top of the 8th inning for Arizona.
Let's take a look at the numbers on this relief pitcher. It's at 6.23 earned run average. He's another one that has struggled a bit. It's all been with the base hits. First batter efficiency's not been very good. Like a lot of guys that come out of the bullpen now, that young Latin players have big time arms. And they throw the ball hard. It's just a matter of whether they can get in sync with the strike zone. 89 miles an hour. And again, you look at a bullpen. When you set it up, you're thinking, all right, I got a guy with it. I'm down 3 runs. Who's the guy I go to after the 6th, 7th inning? Up 3 runs, tie score. Numbers for Tulowitzki today, very good. The guys that can come in and throw sinkers hard, you want to enter those into the game with traffic. The reason why, obviously, ball gets hit on the ground, double play, try to limit that traffic, limit the runs.
And the 0-2 is reached for it, popped up right side. LaRoche has it in foul ground, 1 out. Take a look at another Colorado Lottery replay. Brad Hops had a nice ball game. He lined out to left his first time up, and after that he produced a base hit and another base hit. He also has his first stolen base of the year. Let's not leave that out. Colorado Lottery replay of the game. Play all those non-winning scratch tickets at coloradolottery.com. Valdez is a starter throughout his minor league career. He's had a couple of starts this year. And this ball down the line. What a play by LaRoche.
He's made some plays in this series. You wonder, how does he have 6 errors? Because he's made some very nice plays at first base. Hey, don't forget now, this week the Astros are coming to town. That's June 7th through the 10th. The Houston Astros, Roy Oswalt, Berkman's going to be on that ball club, obviously, heading to Coors Field. Buy your tickets for that series coming up. You know, when you're his size, all you could do is just 1-step dive, and that's what he does. He got a leather on it, timed everything perfectly, and then had to flip to Valdez.
2 outs, Miguel Olivo, who last time up was robbed of at least a double by Chris Young on a drive to almost the wall in center.
Another hard sinker, another ball on the ground. A long throw for Reynolds with a fast runner to Olivo. He got it.
Rockies go in order in the 8th inning. We'll go to the bottom half of the 8th. Kelly Johnson to lead it off, 3-0 Rockies. Today's game summary is brought to you by Ecotech Institute in Denver, where you can make the world your workplace. Ubaldo Jimenez now with 33 consecutive scoreless innings, a new Colorado record. Earlier this year he went 25 1/3. Rodrigo Lopez pitched well, 3 runs, 7 innings. The Rockies offense, a Gonzalez 2-run single and a Tulowitzki home run. Chris Snyder committing his first error, a throwing error, 240 games on a Brad Hopp stolen base. Top of the order here in the bottom of the 8th inning for the Diamondbacks. Kelly Johnson is 1 for 3. Also strikeout and a line drive to deep left center field, tracked down by Carlos Gonzalez. And he just swung the bat effectively against Ubaldo. 1-0. That was pitch number 107 for Jimenez. He's thrown 128 in a game twice this year. That's in the air to left. And this one is off the top of the wall.
Now played wonderfully by Seth Smith, too. Because that's a chain link fence down that left field line in front of the bullpens here. And it's not something that's very solid, so it's going to give when it hits. And Seth Smith gave chase to the baseball until he recognized he didn't have a shot at it. And he waited for it to come off of there, and he barehanded it coming off. Watch how Seth slams the brakes on, and when it hits there, unfortunately, it hit off of that cement. So by doing that, it killed the baseball a little bit. If it hits one of those metal pillars in between right there, chance that ball may have sailed a lot of different ways. Barehanded and a strong throw back in.
I didn't realize that, it really juts out there. The way Smith was going after the baseball, you thought he may have a play. That was within, as you can see on the replay, a foot of going out of here. Ubaldo's allowed only 1 home run all year. That was a hanging splitter that Adam Dunn hit out at Coors Field. 2-0 right now on Connor Jackson. This is an uncomfortable area for Jim Tracy, as Ubaldo's going to back up and collect his thoughts, in that you're ahead 3 runs, but it's not, you're not up 8-0 either.
No, it makes it a little more difficult as you start to match up your bullpen. That's why he has Betancourt and Beimel going down in the bullpen right now. Left-right combination of trying to go and attack, because you're in the middle of the heart of their order. Left-handed, Adam LaRoche, obviously. Then you go right with Reynolds and Young.
And LaRoche swung the bat pretty decently today. (3-0) on Connor Jackson. Nobody out. 3-0 Rockies. That's in there. No runs, just 5 hits for Arizona as they're at bat here in the bottom of the 8th inning. This ball's hit a mile to left. And this is going to make it a 3-2 ball game. Second home run allowed by Jimenez all year, and Connor Jackson's first home run of the season. Boy, you don't want to give this Diamondback team life, and you just did. Team that came from behind to win on Friday and won a 1-run ball game yesterday.
Yeah, a little excitement in this ballpark now. Jimenez on a ball that stayed up in the strike zone, and all of a sudden you see this generated by Jackson with this bat speed at 90 miles an hour, which is an average fastball at the major league level on a changeup, and about 20 rows up into those seats. 2 of the hardest balls hit probably in the last month against Jimenez. Kelly Johnson's ball down the left field line, and now this ball by Jackson that leaves the yard.
You can see there's a changeup. Almost looked like he was sitting on it, George.
Well, that, you just wonder. Because of the double with Johnson out there, did he pick something up in the signs that maybe he relayed? Because I don't know, how do you sit on a changeup from Jimenez with all the other weapons he has? Unless you know some kind of a hint and you know what's coming.
Well, the scoreless streak is over at 33 innings. And also the scoreless streak against Arizona, which had reached 26 innings. Now you got to find a way to win this baseball game.
You just try to piece together the rest of this way. I mean, Jimenez, you mentioned his pitch count already, so you got to figure out on your bullpen. It's set up the way you want it. You got Betancourt, you got the left-hander in Bible. Then you go to your closer if you have to. There they are, the left and the right side of that bullpen for the 8th inning. Trying to solve that mystery to get to the 9th and get it over with.
3-1. And ball 4. He may have run out of gas, George.
Yeah, it might have been one of those times that, you know, it's a rare time, but one of those times it has happened. Jim Tracy's looking back at Dak, wanting to know if they're all ready to go in the pen and has it set up the way he wants it. To make sure that's done properly and then go make his change if that's what he's going to do. It doesn't take long for Tracy. When he makes that mind up, it's made up.
And also by doing this, it's a team game, and he's trying to win a baseball game first and foremost for 24 other guys. But the worst Jimenez can get is a no decision. So Ubaldo goes 118 pitches. He walks off with a 3-2 lead, and he's going to need a pick-me-up from the bullpen. And if there's one guy who deserves it, it's that man. BigTimeBats.com proud to announce the release of a bat celebrating the first no-hitter in Colorado history. That no-hitter thrown by that man, Ubaldo Jimenez. There's 2,010 of these individually numbered bats. They sell for $99.95. And you can get them by calling 866-280-BATS or see it on the web at BigTimeBats.com or see it live right now in our broadcast booth here.
Yeah, we have number 2. Limited edition. We have bat number 2. Special. They are all numbered, put through. You see Ubaldo with a couple of action shots and then just the nice little headshot of Ubaldo. This is a neat deal, so go to BigBats.com.
Well, Ubaldo appeared to fatigue a little bit. Connor Jackson gets him. He hits the changeup out. Now it's a 3-2 ball game. You need 6 more outs. You have tying run on base. Rafael Betancourt, who seems to be locked in his last couple of outings.
He has been locked out. You see the numbers, at 24th appearance coming today against the Diamondbacks. He utilized his fastball the other day and got out of a very big jam with the bases loaded. And again, what I look for from Betancourt is his velocity. When it's 92, 94, he's right. When it's not, he's not. And lately it has been very good, and he's been on top of that hard slider.
Today's call to the bullpen is brought to you by Comcast Digital Home Phone Service. Warm up to unlimited local and long distance. Call 1-800-COMCAST. Mark Reynolds 0 for 2 and a walk against Ubaldo. 2 strikeouts looking. Try to stay out of his power, but he has power. Foul pole to foul pole. LaRoche at first. And the first pitch misses, ball 1.
On their bench right now, they've used
Rusty Ryle. Yeah.
Rusty Ryle. They have the left-hander Drew, and then you see Upton power-wise, and Roberts, who's gotten some key hits, is looking out on the first step there as he looks out. 2 biggest hits so far in this series, the last 2 ball games.
And this is popped up, foul, and out of play.
Really a hard play. Oliva's going to have to track and follow.
Wow. That thing came back, looked like it was going to be over the screen.
Well, you got to make sure you watch it too in this ballpark. You don't have wind to deal with, but you do have the ceiling.
1 out, Chris Young coming up. If your windshield's damaged, call Safelite Elite Auto Glass. 303-287-5000, safelight.com online. 3-2 Colorado. 1 out. Rafael Betancourt, in his last 3 outings coming into this one, had faced 7 hitters and he had struck 6 of them out. No runs allowed in his last 5. Another dangerous man in Young.
Matt Daly has gotten up as another right-hander in the Rockies bullpen to go along with Beimel. And as you start to interchange and take things and set it up the way you want to, this is where you have to maintain it. Keep it for Ubaldo Jimenez, where he leads 3-2.
And the one guy you won't see in all likelihood today is Matt Belisle.
There they are, the right-hander Matt Daly, the left-hander Beimel.
One and one.
Right side with a runner being held at first. There is a hole there if you take the fastball away. Great coverage in the infield, though, on the ball on the ground. The opportunity to turn a double play and end the inning.
1 and 2. Baseball will make you talk to yourself.
A lot of pitchers will take you and fire yourself up on the mound by saying, make a pitch. This is the spot. Let's get it over with. The whole deal. And sometimes you say to yourself, well, where you want to put this pitch and what you want to use to get it there.
Slider come into play here?
Well, I think for him and his recent success, it has been the very good fastball that he has used. He goes to the slider and it's been out of the zone. It's a pitch that he has not had command of like he has his fastball. We'll peek in at Olivo, see what he does with it. Thinking about slider, you can always kind of look that way when they're trying to go away with it, but they go fastball away, and then typically Betancourt will elevate it a little bit in the zone. Hard to get on top, hard to do anything with it. Elevated that, worked under it, fouled into the seats for a souvenir.
Dodgers in Atlanta tied in the 7th inning, 4-4 at Dodger Stadium. Houston, who comes to town tomorrow, beat the Cubs earlier 6-3. 3-2 here, Colorado. 8th inning, 1 out. LaRoche at first. And that's a line drive base hit to left. And now the tying run at second for Gerardo Parra.
Where was this pitch to Young, though? Is it a fastball that's away from him, or is it elevated? Is it in the middle of the plate? It appeared to be in the middle of the plate as Jim Tracy looks on, thinking about next strategy. Look where they wanted the pitch and look where the result was. They did not want the pitch up and on the inner half of the plate. They wanted it away and down.
Now here's the situation. Parra hasn't hit very much against lefties this year, if you're thinking about that, and left-handed bats have hit over 400 against Betancourt. And again, Betancourt, his last 5 outings, has been very good. That's a strike.
Making sure you're on the right path. You don't want to do something here, particularly in the crucial part of the ball game. Tying run out at second, the bottom of the 8th.
Here's what we were talking about. Lefty's hitting .406 against Betancourt. And Parra does not have a hit this year against left-handed bats. Or pitchers. He's not had many at bats, just 2.
He's going to force you to throw hitting strike zone. He doesn't chase many pitches out of the zone.
He has a real good idea at the plate. Below average runner at second, representing the tying run in LaRoche. Outfield shaded toward left center field.
Well, deep, and you wonder a little bit with him up at the plate. Does not have a home run. You kind of scoot things in a little bit. If it's over your head, it's more probably going to be in the seats anyway.
Line drive left field. This will hold up for Smith. 2 outs.
Kind of what he does. I mean, he's just one of these hitters. You get it into the zone, he's going to let you supply the power late in ball games, and then he's just going to try to make solid contact at you. Ubaldo, when this ball leaves the bat here, he's thinking that all he wants is outs. Get this thing over with.
Johnny Herrera next to him. Chris Snyder, who on the season is hitting .209. For 1 against Rafael Betancourt.
Making sure the signs are what they are. You got a veteran guy that's been raised basically through the big leagues, and Adam LaRoche with his father, who has been a big league coach, pitching coach, that they're making sure that no signs are stolen. And if you switch it, we need to make sure you switch it. You got a catcher at the plate. A lot of very quick signs with Olivo, and then you kind of eliminate a lot of things going on out at second base by doing that. It's hard to track it. You see him roll it over. They're going to start all over again, do it. Now you got to execute the pitch.
Home run cut, no baseball, 0-1.
See how late that Olivo moved. He set basically in the middle of the plate and rocked out, rocked in. He's going out and he's coming right back in again, and they're able to get a swing and a miss. Yeah, Snyder's thinking of one thing now. He's trying to get it over a wall somewhere. Hit the ball hard. And sometimes as a pitcher, if you have the ability to do it, you take advantage of that with a good breaking ball out of the zone.
Well, if he's thinking that good, because he should be thinking about a base hit here. 3-2. LaRoche the tying run at second. That's outside. You had to love, George, when you're on the mound, you see a guy taking a big, long swing.
It depends on the part of the ball game. As you work into the 8th inning, couple of guys on base, you know, he's trying to get something, one swing to put it up in the bottom of the 8th. Not a lot of speed. It's going to have to get in to the gap areas. It looked like Drew's showing off his finger from when it got hit yesterday.
And they still have Drew and Upton on the bench. Whether Drew's available, question mark. And this is pop foul out of play. So now Betancourt ahead in the count, 1-2 on Snyder.
Well, all you can do as a starting pitcher is walk out, keep your fingers crossed, and hope everybody does their job.
2 on, 1-run game. 1-2 with 2 outs. Chris Snyder at the plate. Here's the pitch, and it's blocked by Olivo, and he scrambles to it. And LaRoche did not want to gamble making the 3rd out at third base.
Well, absolutely. If the ball shoots to the right side of him versus left, then you might take that gamble. But Olivo does a pretty good job blocking this ball. It hit out in front of home plate. He took it off the chest, and he was out from behind and up very quickly. If that ball jets up the first base line, then you might have thought about it a little bit more. But if he goes, he's out by 15 feet.
Two. He's got him. Rafael Betancourt strikes out Chris Snyder with 2 aboard. And the Rockies will carry a 3-2 lead to the 9th at Chase Field in Phoenix. Today's ball game is brought to you by Comcast. And by Frost Brewed Coors Light, the world's most refreshing beer. By Geico, 15 minutes can save you 15% or more on car insurance. By Burger King, home of the Whopper. And by Colorado Hyundai. Hyundai was just named the most efficient car maker in America. Visit your Colorado Hyundai dealers today. Rockies survived that 8th inning. They lead it 3-2 in the top of the 9th. Looking for some insurance, looking for a tease on the postgame show. Here's Tom Helmer.
Drew, after the ball game, you believe it. After getting touched up in the 8th, Ubaldo Jimenez still in line to win his 11th ball game of the season. We'll talk about that. Also delivering cargo. Carlos Gonzalez drives in a couple big runs today. He's just been a monster against Arizona. And, of course, we'll have an on-field interview. It's all coming up in the Rockies postgame report. Drew?
All right, Tom, the Rockies hope to get that insurance beginning with Todd Helton, who's been on base twice today, hitting out of the 6th hole for the first time in 11 seasons. Struck out looking in the 2nd, then singled and scored in the 5th, walked in the 6th. And continuing on is Cesar Valdez, who worked a 1-2-3 8th inning. And that sinker's down low. Todd will be followed by Ian Stewart.
Well, he's shown a big movement on his fastball, and he's shown a pretty good changeup. Drew mentioned that you know, when he did not have that good secondary swing and miss pitch that you need to have as a starting pitcher. You say, all right, let's put him down in the bullpen. Let's look at some sinkers, see what else he can bring to you. And he did just that. Last fastball was up to 92. He's typically been 89, 90 with heavy sink to it.
And Todd fouls this one off. It's 2 balls, 2 strikes.
And that's where you kind of got to be prepared as a bullpen guy in an organization or out of one that you're going to get a chance in the big leagues throughout the year. You always have injuries, overuse, things you got to do to try to soar up on your bullpen. If you're somebody that has a reputation throwing strikes, then that reputation is going to get tested up here. You're going to get a chance to throw strikes.
That time of the ball game, you saw Jason Giambi starting to move around. You know, he's been underneath, just a few feet away, the hitting cage, visiting hitting tunnel. 2-2 on Helton. And Todd drives one foul. This one had home run distance down the right field line. Rockies dead even against the National League West at 13-13. And 6-5 during the last 11 ball games, all inside the division. Here's a changeup. This is turning into one of those Todd Helton at bats, one of those classic Helton at bats.
Yeah, fouling off a lot of balls and keeping the head on it. I think that's the one thing Todd does a good job of when he starts coming out of some of those streaks he's been in of late. One hit today, a line drive to right field.
Two again. And a ground ball toward the middle. Diving stop Johnson. He gets up and he's going to get Todd at first base. Today's Save of the Week is brought to you by the region's Touchstone Energy Cooperatives, your local electric cooperative delivering reliable power, energy-saving tools, and more. Visit togetherwesave.com. Manuel Corpus got his 5th save on Tuesday against the Giants. And in a little bit, he'll be asked to get his 6th save of the year. There he is getting loose. 1 out. Ian Stewart coming up. 0 for 3 for Stewart. Ball 1.
Tell you what, he's got a nasty sinker. The ball just falls right off the table as it gets into the home plate area.
And a base hit to right. Nice, smooth, effortless swing by Ian Stewart. So he's aboard for Clint Barmas. Giambi has come out in the on-deck circle. All right, our Breaks Plus poll, which did you think is easier, the cycle or the no-hitter? If you voted for the cycle, you are right. This is a factual question, not really an opinion. 64%, and historically there have been slightly more cycles than no-hitters.
290, 89 versus 260.
Barmas today, a base hit in the 5th, and he scored a run. Rockies got 2 in the 5th on a base hit by Carlos Gonzalez, and then a Tulowitzki home run in the 6th. That's it offensively. Though they have produced 10 hits in the game.
It was kind of like yesterday's ball game for 6 innings. A lot of traffic, a lot of people out running around, but not a whole lot happening. And the same thing today. Both clubs have made an error in the ball game.
This gets away to the backstop, and now the Rockies have an insurance run at second base. It's Stewart on the wild pitch by Valdez.
And with the runner out at second base, this is where you have to have a conversation as a catcher with Snyder. This ball bounced. Snyder just tried to backhand it, and it ricocheted off the heel of the glove to the fence. Just allowed him to move up relatively easy, bringing Stewart into scoring position.
Now this is where Clint has excelled, particularly on this road trip. Late game clutch situations, and this ball is in the air to right field. Two outs. Giambi will pinch hit for Betancourt. Who wants tacos? Fans, if you'd like to receive text message alerts when the Rockies score 7 or more runs for the Rockies taco special, text the keyword taco to 95323. Giambi got the start yesterday at first base and was going to start today for Helton, but he has a very tight hamstring. Down low, Stewart at second base. Stewart's one of those guys. Stewart's a good athlete. He was tremendous soccer player growing up in Southern California, in addition to obviously one of the best high school baseball players in the country. When he gets going, he runs pretty well. And this is to first. Well, the Rockies will have to make do with the 3-2 lead. We'll go to the bottom of the 9th inning. Manuel Corpus will try to save it for Ubaldo Jimenez. Here we go, bottom of the 9th inning. The Rockies 3 and the Diamondbacks 2. Arizona will have Augie Ojeda to lead off, and then they have Ryan Roberts. That's going to be Stephen Drew. Stephen Drew will pinch hit, and then it'll be Ryan Roberts in the on-deck circle. So Manuel Corpus will have to face Stephen Drew. He's got the bum finger. That's why he wasn't in the starting lineup today. We're looking for a day off for him anyhow.
1-run lead here. You got to keep the ball on the ground when put in play. You can see what he's done against Corpus. 5 for 17 with a home run and 8 RBIs. Make sure 8 strikeouts, I should say. Keep the ball on the ground. Utilize the hard sinker.
And he did not have the good sinker on Friday. The ball was hit very hard against him. Manuel was unable to nail down the save on Friday. This is an infield you can play a little deeper on. It's one of the quickest surfaces in the National League. And this will help. Corpus jumps on it, fires to help. 1 out. Well, getting that first guy, George, you pitched late in ball games. That is huge.
Took a lot of confusion out of it, too, since the ball was tapped out in front of the plate. Watch Corpus as he comes off the mound. He's making sure Oliva knows, I got it. Bare hands and then fires to Todd Helton. Doesn't try to glove it with the glove. Just go to the bare hand, grab it, and get the out.
Well, A.J. Hinch is going to go, George, with the hot pinch hitter, Ryan Roberts, not the guy who maybe can tie it with one swing, in Justin Upton.
Well, he has done a great job coming off of the bench and swinging the bats. It's the last couple of nights he's done it with men on base.
2 for 2 in the pinch in this series with 3 RBIs. That was all over the outside corner. Strike 1. 1 out, nobody on. 3-2 Colorado. And a slider.
Be careful of working under the hard slider. If you put it down there, you're in pretty good position, but you just don't want to get flat with it. I think difference there if Manuel keeps the hand up versus down. Go fastball. That's right. Bad swing and a miss on a slider. Set up inside, slide out, and then take advantage of that heater away. See ya. Man, pretty good pitch there. How'd he take it? Good location. Off the plate a couple of inches, but not a pitch that Roberts could drive to try to tie the game up. So there's 4. He let it go.
They'll go back out there again, and
Slider.
It's 2-2 with the slider.
Add a little bit more velocity, and then by doing that sometimes Manny will yank on it. When he yanks, that's when it goes up in velocity to 84. We'll peek in one more time. A little fastball. His money pitch has been the slider through this wonderful streak that Manuel has had.
He went to the slider, and he gets a pop up to shallow right. Barnes going out, and Clint makes the catch. 2 outs. Not out of the woods yet by any stretch. You have the leadoff man, Kelly Johnson, who's tied for the team lead in home runs with 12. And he has a couple of hits today. In fact, he's hit the ball well 3 times. He got the rally going in the 8th inning against Ubaldo Jimenez, an opposite field double. Connor Jackson hit a changeup for a 2-run home run. And then when LaRoche walked, Ubaldo's afternoon was done at 118 pitches. Slider, strike 1.
Just the aggressive attitude that Manuel has on the mound today, too. It's just attack, attack, attack. Hitters recognize that. They're trying to stay with it.
Yeah, stay away from it. Trying to get that slider, George, on the Backdoor, that's a hard pitch, isn't it?
Very well from the arm angle that he throws. Low 3/4, it's hard. Baldo looking on, thinking to pick up this 11th W, get on the plane and head to the house.
Well received, 2-1. Miguel Olivo trying to lift that sinker. He's got such strong hands. Johnson very selective. 1 for 5 lifetime against Corpus. And that misses. 3-1. You have Connor Jackson on deck.
Good idea. I mean, it's hard sinker. Just throw it over the middle of the plate. With good down tilt to it, and then you got a pretty good chance with it. You don't need to put a runner on to tying run to go to first base. Make them earn their way on there. Make it a pitch you want to go to. Slider, not a bad idea. Make it a hittable pitch. It's all about that feel. I mean, Corpus felt something underneath the left front side of that ball of the foot on his left cleat.
3-2, 2 outs in the 9th. And a ground ball foul.
Hard pitch to hit, though. That hard slider on that back foot. With a feeble swing at it. Right here as that ball comes and dives in. I mean, foul. If you make contact with that pitch, it can be hard to keep it in fair territory.
Now they're going to try to go away with the slider. Ground ball to first. Helton's got it. The flip to Corpus. Ball game. Rockies win it 3-2. Manuel Corpus a 1-2-3 ninth, and that man is now 11-1. Needed a little help today. Usually does it on his own. 3-2 final. The Rockies win it. They snap a 3-game slide. They improve to 29-27. The D-backs fall to 22-35. Our Jimmy John's delivery of the game. Troy Tulowitzki with a home run to right, and that turned out to be the difference in the ball game. His 8th of the year. Jimmy John's delivery of the game. Ubaldo Jimenez goes 7+. He improves to 11-1, and a big hug for his catcher Miguel Olivo. Rockies win it 3-2. Stick around. The postgame show is up next.